I'd say so far 60 is the best. So I think it just gets better because I also think 60 today looks a lot different than it did when my mother's generation was 60. I had tried stand-up comedy before and I thought, I didn't think that was the way I was going to do it, going around to clubs. I'm 60. I like to go to bed at 9 o'clock. The shows start at 9. And so I thought I could do this from the comfort of my own home. TikTok was flooded with women my age and with all kinds of content creators about fashion and comedy and makeup. So I kind of thought, why not me? And just went for it. And I just kept at it and hit on something. And I must have struck a nerve because now there's just this vibrant community of mildly annoyed women. I just trusted myself more and I thought, what do my friends and I laugh about? We laugh about going out for dinner in a restaurant that's too dark and we can't see anything, we can't hear, it's too loud, we're annoyed. And we used to go out till 2 in the morning and scream over the music. So it's the aging thing and the being female. And so I thought, I'm just going to trust myself and do more of that. And my husband is a really good sport. So, when it started to take off, I said, I think I just threw you under the bus and people are loving it. Are you okay with that if I continue to bash you in front of 500,000 people? He's like, sure. So he gets the joke. It's wonderful time of life raising kids. But you're right. When you get to the other end of it, you realize I don't have all these responsibilities anymore. I don't necessarily have to change the world in a big way. I'm so thrilled when I get a message from somebody that says, I was having a rough day and I watched your video. That just thrills me. And it's never too late. That's the other message.
Welcome, Colleen. It is so wonderful to have you here with Movement Living. We're so excited to have a conversation with you, to get to know you a little bit more. We love watching all of your comedy reels. And for anyone that doesn't already know you, why don't you just tell us, who are you and what do you do?
It's delightful to be here. And I am a retired teacher. I taught high school writing and English up until about a year ago. And leading up to retirement, I was kind of looking for a side gig or something to do that was fun and purposeful. And I've always been interested in comedy and I've always been a humor writer. And so I started posting on Instagram and TikTok about a year, I'd say, before leading up to retirement. And it was going nowhere fast. I think I gained 700 followers in a year. And I give up and start again, give up and start again. And then about 3 months before retirement, I really was about to just say, I'll do something else. This just isn't going anywhere. And I posted a video of, I had come downstairs and my husband and one of my sons, I think, was home and they had left a balled up sock and a ball cap and a couple of things on the new coffee tables that I had bought that I didn't want anybody touching. And I thought, oh, this is kind of funny. And I've always been obsessed with home decor and I watch HGTV religiously and I kind of knew all the terms. So I just took my camera. I didn't have any makeup on. I didn't think anybody would see it. And I just filmed it and I just said, oh, isn't this lovely? I love how the sock adds softness to the space, and it was just silly. And I put my phone away, and then all of a sudden, I heard all these, dings from my phone, and it was new followers and people just reacting. So it kind of went crazy, and so I thought, I must be on to something. So I just kept uploading videos like that, and I've kind of gained this community. So it tied in nicely with retirement.
That was a brilliant insight moment.
It was. I couldn't believe it because, the thing about social media is you just have no idea what people will respond to. I mean, I was posting all kinds of videos, but no one theme. And I would get some nice comments, and I felt like I was on the right track, but I thought this is going to take 20 years. I didn't even really know what my goal was, but I thought I had tried stand-up comedy before and I thought, I didn't think that was the way I was going to do it, going around to clubs. I'm 60. I like to go to bed at 9 o'clock. The shows start at 9. And so I thought I could do this from the comfort of my own home. But as I said, I just kept trying different things. And I just kept at it and hit on something, and I must have struck a nerve because now there's just this vibrant community of mildly annoyed women.
I love how you bring the humor and the lightness into it, where it's like, okay, you might be annoyed, but you make it funny and relatable. And it's like, I don't know, there's something there. It's like cathartic.
Thank you. I'm surprised beyond measure that that's what has happened in the community. I mean, the comments from my followers are hilarious. It's just like this little group of women that meet every day and they crack me up. Um, but yeah, I didn't want it to be mean or, husband bashing. And my husband really isn't that bad. It's the little things that bug us, isn't it? It is the toilet paper roll that has one square on it. When you're on your last nerve, that's the thing that can put you over the edge, or a glass beside the dishwasher, and we just automatically go behind them, put it in the dishwasher, but it wears you down after a while. So, to be fair, when I was raising my kids and, getting them to hockey and working full time, I wouldn't have been as sunny about it. It's age and wisdom and space and uh, perspective. Now I can look back, but I don't want people to think that I was this Mary Poppins. Oh, another dish for me. Thank you. But I think it's just a fun way to look at it and say we all kind of experience this. It just seems to be a universal thing for the most part. And, my followers, I think, are like 98% women. And it's just fun and safe and light. We just gather in there, meet. Yeah, this happened to me, or my husband could do it better than yours. So I'm hoping it has lightened people's loads a bit. And some have said that I have. So that was a really nice, unexpected byproduct of this. So I'm really happy about that.
I think what you've done is you have heavy sarcasm, but you made sarcasm into, you've gone beyond the mean and into the fun, because it's just so loving. I mean, it's a fine line you're walking there, but it's great.
And I think people say to my voice, I'll make it really melodic and sweet. And I mean, I do find sarcasm funny and I like dark humor. Um, so I'm kind of glad I've somehow landed on that where people don't walk away thinking, oh, she's just miserable and she's so mean. I don't like that necessarily. So, and I'm kind of pointing the finger at myself too, because if my husband leaves a glass on the counter, he's eventually going to put it in the dishwasher, but not on my time frame. I want everything clutter free. I don't want crumbs. I lose my mind when people don't lose plates. So it's not like they're animals. It's that it's a bit of both. It's that you could lose a plate, you could use a plate, and I wish I wasn't so neurotic about facing crumbs and wanting to run for the hills. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is your way of coping with that. And that's the beauty of it. You've, it's like medicine for yourself. But you also have this other aspect of your humor, which is amazingly brave, which is the self-deprecating side of it, where you're not afraid to make fun of yourself or even put your face. One of my favorite ones is the Brianna one with the sunscreen one, and I hope we can point people to that one. It just cracked me up. But you're able to use yourself as a as part of the fun, which
I
is,
don't mind that, especially with age. I'm 60. You care less about what people think. And people are looking for less of the perfect makeup and perfect. They want people who are just like everybody else. And that's me. I don't wear much makeup. I've got age spots, whatever. So I'm okay with it. And the Brianna character, there's always a little bit of truth. And during COVID, I did go to the drugstore. I would have been 55 or 56. And I didn't know that Seniors Day was on Thursday. I walked in. Now, I wasn't looking my best because it was COVID and my gray roots were in. And I was probably looking old and fumbling through my purse for my magnifiers and, probably had pajama bottoms on. And when I got up to the cash, there was this young girl. I don't know what her name was, but she said, "Oh, excuse me, ma'am." I'm like, "Me?" She said, "Yes, you are eligible for the senior citizens discount," without even asking. Now that it is 55, but I thought, you little whippersnapper, you're supposed to ask. You're not supposed to say, "Whoa, I could save you a lot of money, lady." So I always just embellish it. Um, and all the beauty ones, there is a kernel of truth in it because I've joked with my friends how we'll go to an esthetician for a facial and pay all this money, and they're kind of insulting us the whole time. I went to one and she's like, "Oof, those pores are pretty big. Have you ever washed your face?" Or I think a Fraxel laser would really help you. What they do is they just burn your face off and then you look good. Okay, well, how much? That'll be $200. So there's always a kernel of truth of things that have happened to me in the beauty industry, and we just give them our money and
It's so true. And even when your makeup, it's like, yes, we want your eye to go up here and all this stuff, that you've been told. It's very good that you spoof it, and then we appreciate it. And all those little irritants, like people's names with four N's kind of stuff. It's like, what happened to the world? Which is what happens when you get older.
I'm a teacher, so I would always see the new spellings as the last 10-ish years, 15, and it was just so off the charts that I had to kind of make fun of that.
I love that. And I mean, one of our pillars is connection. So movement, food, connection. And for us, and even just our conversation already about the power of humor, and it's like there's these kernels of truth, of moments where, there's a little bit of it's like, but then you turn it into something so fun and relatable. And I think humor is such an important part of that connection piece. I'd love to hear from you if you've always been interested in humor, like you started stand up in your 50s. Like, tell us a little bit about the role of humor and comedy just in your life from the beginning.
Yeah, I have always been interested in humor, and from the time I was little, I dreamt of Carol Burnett. You must remember.
He was amazing.
Yes, I would watch that show religiously and think that would be so much fun. So I've always been able to find the humor in things, I would say. Um, and so when I was in my 50s, there was a comedian from the East Coast who had moved back. She had lived in Toronto, I think, and had, done quite well. And I heard on CBC that she was going to be giving a stand-up comedy for women only class. And was it before? I think it was before COVID. And I had just had a knowing in me that I had to do this. So I just signed up for it. So probably a little delusional, maybe, a little bit brave. I was proud of myself. There were about 8 women, and it was really fun. We kind of learned the basics of stand up, and then we did a show for family and friends, and I loved it. Um, and then there was a small comedy club in town for a while, and we would do open mics and things. So I probably did it about 10 times. Um, so yeah, I will probably try it again, but when the comedy club closed, kind of slowed down and I wasn't really chasing it. So yes, so comedy has always been a part of my life in some form or another. When our boys were little, I used to write slice of life, Irma Bombeck-ish type pieces for newspapers. I loved her too so much. And so that was always my dream to be a humor writer. And again, in my 50s, I went to a writing workshop here in town that was put on by a woman who was writing a humor column every month for a group of newspapers in the Atlantic provinces. And she gave her workshop, and at the end, she said that she was finishing with the column. So I asked her for a contact person, and it was just serendipity. I couldn't believe it. And she gave me the editor's name, and I slid right into that. So time and place, right? Luck. So I did that for 4 or 5 years, and I wrote a humor book with a small publisher. And so, yeah, it's always been a part of my life somehow, either writing, performing less so, and now the Instagram.
I think of your journey a little bit like Woody Allen in the sense that he started with writing and stand up, went into movies, and I love nothing more than listening to him complain about stuff. He's the best complainer in the world, and I just think that there's such a place for that in our lives because rather than becoming angry and horrible, it lets you let it go. And so you're helping us do that. And I think that's great that you've done both the writing, the stand-up work, all of those things. You're probably going to end up writing a screenplay.
I'm working on a book right now, actually, a humor book. I'm working with a literary agent, so stay tuned. Hopefully that
Good.
sees the light of day. Yeah, I guess I just always like laughing and people poking fun at things that I feel. So I kind of feel like we all feel these things, even if we pretend we don't, with the sometimes toxic positivity. I do believe in a positive attitude, but I think you have to kind of admit that things bug you.
Right. And I appreciate that. We appreciate that because you can't be Pollyanna all the time. You just can't. But
I agree.
at least you know, acknowledge, make light, and use whatever technique because you have a very particular style, but it's really refreshing and wonderful to see you in our inbox,
I'm so happy to hear that.
What about, so, there's the irritations and the little frustrations that I feel like are part of your source material. What about some of the bigger stressors or anxieties in your life? How do you manage stress and keep feeling positive without being, overly positive?
I think I've gotten better with it as I've gotten older. I was, I wouldn't say I'm a laid back person. It's easy for me to be this way now because our kids are launched and they're doing well and everything is going well. And if little worries creep in, I'm a big believer in exercise. That always helps me to feel better. I go for a long walk. Um, and I try to start every day with gratitude. When I wake up, I'm happy to bring, greet another day, and I feel lucky to have good health. But I just try to talk myself out of it, keep busy, you know, tell myself that up until this point things have worked out, so why wouldn't they? And there's also Mel Robbins' theory, which I do kind of like, is just, she just says, what if it works out the best? Rather than what if it goes sideways. But you have to work at it. I'm not normally like Zen.
So in other words, imagine instead of the worst, the best, or at least okay.
Right. But it's easy to say, isn't it, when we're just sitting here talking and everything's great? I think it's hard for most people when you're going through something or you're really worried about something. And I think in those situations, you just surround yourself with friends, talk it out, try to do things that give you joy, and hope for the best.
As I get older, I know more about how things can go. Whereas a kid is like, oh, it's okay.
Yes,
I can hitchhike by myself in a mini skirt. But now I see what can go wrong, and that's the problem. It's too much knowledge. You
absolutely.
have to put your blinders on or something.
I find out of sight, out of mind helps. I was probably more neurotic when our boys lived at home, and I needed to know where they were at all times. And now I don't know where they are, what they're doing. I just go to bed and hope for the best. You know what I mean? But when you're raising them, yes, there are lots of worries. I wasn't great about, excuse me, about compartmentalizing those. I just had to talk myself through it. And it's control too. you know, I probably letting go of some of the control is helpful, but I think it's hard, especially for females to do. We're kind of the orchestrators of everything. And we have to hold a lot of information all the time. Like even now, my boys are, you know, one's turning 30 and I need to know when they've last been to the dentist. And I just read a report that plaque will kill you. So if you want to die that way, go ahead. I've brought you so far. I might exaggerate a bit, but I'm always like, I did so much to keep them like clean teeth, doctor's appointments, the whole bit. That yes, there was always something to worry about.
Letting go is a good topic because you've done all of that for your family. You haven't done so much of that for yourself in terms of, you know, taking care of yourself, but it is always constantly there in front of you, and giving up some of that is real hard, you know. And
Very.
let it be. It's even now, and with with the grandkids, with her little kids who I
Oh,
adore, I can imagine things that can happen that, you know, they don't even want to know about. And that's not like me. I've never been like that, but it does come on you. And so you have to hold it at bay.
I guess so. I find it helps to just say it's kind of the human condition, and except for a very few people who are just so zen. I think most people, women especially, who am I kidding? Most women, our brain is just holding too much and we read things. And I feel like men are able to compartmentalize it more and just come home and let it go and don't worry about it, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be that way, but I think we have to work at it. I think it's in our DNA to imagine
Mhm.
everything and that could go wrong and stop it before it happens, which of course we can't.
You know, just saying it's okay. I can't fix everything. Cannot fix everything, whether it's a family member that has mental health issues, or you know, could be anything. And you can, if you can't fix it, it brings you so much pain and sorrow. And this is, you know, where humor comes in, where you can turn it into something that's more positive and gives people some relief from all of that. And it's a beautiful thing that you, it's a gift that you have and you're bringing. I have to tell you, because when I laugh, it just makes me so happy.
Oh my gosh, that just thrills me to hear that, to think that, you know, I mean, I do believe in the power of laughter. So it's amazing that there's a tool like social media that can do that, you know, so I'm delighted. I'm just thrilled with it. And I do agree that it lightens the load. Even myself, if I'm feeling a bit blah and I watch a Netflix comedian special, it
Yeah.
just lightens your load.
Exactly, and even how you do it with your kids, and you'll, you know, you do the call, and you lay all this guilt trip on them, and then that way you don't really have to do it in real life, you know?
Exactly. It's like free therapy for me. And I think I know one of them doesn't even have a social media account. So I feel free. And my husband is a really good sport. So, you know, when it started to take off, I said, I think I just threw you under the bus and people are loving it. Are you okay with that if I continue to bash you in front of 500,000 people? He's like, sure. So he gets the joke. He said, you know, obviously you're exaggerating and you're just, you know, people are finding it relatable. But, and my boys aren't big on social media, but, you know, I would always check with my husband and say, you don't think they'll care about this, do you? He's like, who cares? Just post it.
Oh, that's nice. That's where their point of view really helps balance us. You know, there is value in living with someone who can let go of things.
100%. Yeah, he's really good at that. And he just, yeah, he can settle me down if I get to what if, or reading into things, which we just seem to be born to do. It's a gift
Sure.
that women have.
We want to
I can
prevent
go to a
danger.
party and say, did you notice, you know, so and so did a little side eye when no, were they even there? Yes, I think they're going to divorce tomorrow. Stay tuned. Or, you know, if our boys are texting, I'm like, oh, I don't know about the tone of that.
Yeah.
I think something's going down. He's like, wow.
Wow.
All he said was yup. I know, but You can
All
read
he
between the
said was
lines.
that's good. I know.
Seems depressed. I don't know.
Where did you come up with the inferior designer terminology? I think that's brilliant. It took me a while to figure it out, actually.
Okay, well, I started from the beginning. I was calling him my husband. My husband left this, my husband left that. Then I thought, why don't I call him my in-house interior designer? So I did that for a while. And then I don't remember how it came to me, but one time I just pretended I slipped up and I said I mean interior designer, and it got some laughs. My inferior designer was outside and it was really hot. So when he came in, he was all sweaty. So he used this old towel to wipe all the sweat off his body. And then he very thoughtfully folded it for me and left it here on this counter for some much needed texture and some gorgeous tone on tone. I just thought that was so thoughtful of him to fold it for me so that I could take it off to the laundry room. And when I picked it up, I realized it's still got his sweat on it. Pheromones much? I smell a vow renewal ceremony coming up. So I did that for a couple times, and then I just flat out called him my inferior designer, and it stuck.
It's brilliant because it brings in your love of style and home shows and things like that. I mean, I actually thought it was an actual interior designer who was not very good. It took me a
Oh,
while to get the joke, but I hadn't followed you for as long. And but now it's so brilliant, like the butter dish thing, the sculpture, all of that. It's just so good. I love it.
It is true, actually. Gab is very serious, but she loves comedy. It's like her secret outlet. But I think actually, I think a lot of women in our community, one, are completely gonna relate to how you were just saying, like women hold so much information, and it's like we have to make sure that none of the things happen. Like we're just focused on, but this and this and this and this. And it's like, I just want to let go, like my husband or, so I definitely think that's describing, the women in our community are such glue of their whole family, maybe kids have left the home like yours, but still they're still the hub. And I think that just can create so much pressure. And another thing is people pleasing or just wanting to make everyone happy. Gab actually calls herself like a sheepdog. Is that what you say, Gab?
I'm a sheepdog. I'm a shepherd.
that's a great image, the shepherd.
Yeah. I know you have a couple bits about being a people pleaser, and yeah, maybe just talk about that for a little bit because I think a lot of women will relate to it.
I feel like it's just in us and we didn't sign up for it necessarily. I don't feel like I was like that when I was younger. And Gab, you mentioned something, you feel like you're safe and free when you're younger. But I feel like as soon as you become a parent, for some reason, this orchestrating and pleasing and worrying, it just seems to come with the territory, even though we didn't really sign up for it. So it's all the little unseen things that we feel we have to do. Maybe we don't. My husband would say, "Well, don't do it. Just don't do it." But then it's like it has to be done and we just do it. I don't know what it is. So I think that goes hand in hand with the people pleasing, just wanting everybody to be happy and fending off things. And I think you get better with age, like anything else. Yeah, I'm at the stage of my life now where I feel like I have done it. I've done my job. The other thing I want to say about that people pleasing and orchestrating and the roles women take on, it's almost like a blessing and a curse. I love being the one that nurtured our children. I mean, my husband was always nurturing, but I liked feeding them good food. I liked giving them a nice house, but I wanted someone else to actually do the labor. Like it wears you out, but it's kind of a pleasure to be that person. But now that I've done it, I feel like I can think more about myself and please myself. So I would say I'm less of a people pleaser. more boundaries, I think, the older you get, where you're just kind of like, other people are kind of looking after themselves. We've only got one life. I did my thing. I was a teacher. I'm just done with all the pleasing for the most part. Of course, I still want everybody to be happy. I still feed everybody when they come home and I love having them. But it's a nice phase of life when you get here, and you will, to be able to say, I did my job to the best of my ability,
Mm.
controlled what I could control. Luckily, they turned out great. And now I'm more selfish. And we're kind of trained not to be like that, but I'm just kind of going for it now.
Well, something that we are trying to train women in our community is to be more selfish because it's something that we really have this negative response to. I mean, even, the word selfish, we're being a bit tongue in cheek. Like, we don't actually think, oh, the answer is to be more selfish, but it's like, no, you do really need to prioritize yourself. And it's something that women really struggle with. So it's very great to hear you speaking about it.
And I think you're right. Selfish has a negative connotation, almost to the point where you're hurting someone else by
Yes.
looking after yourself, which isn't what we want to do. We just want to nurture ourselves. And it's that old adage, like you can't save anybody else till you save yourself. So put the oxygen on first. So if you're not exercising or getting together with friends once in a while when you're in the parenting and the younger years and the busy years, I think then that leads to, burnout and misery. I was always pretty good about that. I always managed to squeeze out an hour walk for myself. It was my time.
Wow.
And, tried to be social, even if it was through like hockey moms and stuff. It was fun. I would always find a way to connect. So I think you're right, Amanda, that we have to take time to look after ourselves.
Well, if you were in the plane and the oxygen mask comes down, what would you do? Because I ask myself that. I know what I'm supposed to do, but if I had a little kid there, my little kid or anybody's little kid, wouldn't I want to put that mask on first?
I know. I think we'd instinctively do it.
Would.
And by the way, when they always say, if there is an issue, we have to evacuate, leave your personal belongings. Every time I'm on a plane, I say to my husband, I am not leaving my purse here. I just want you to know that. Okay. So you get yourself out. This phone is coming with me.
Well, this is why now I just wear the thing the whole time.
Crossbody.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
it. It's coming with same thing, but
I'm
that's
grabbing it.
yeah.
What's in your purse, Colleen? What are your purse essentials?
Oh, that's a good question. My phone, which is clearly my life now, to my children's horror. Always lip stuff. My lips get dry. Hand sanitizer. I bought some really yummy stuff at Sephora that smells like coconut, so I'm always spritzing. Um, got a pretty big wallet with not much in it. And sunglasses. Oh, and magnifiers. I have to have those to read menus with the tiny print in the dark.
So why do you have such a big wallet with nothing in it? Because I know I could, me too. That's why I'm asking. Yeah, me too.
I like a wallet. I guess we're of that, Do you carry one, Amanda, or do you just have the little card holders?
I just have my phone basically.
Pays with her phone. Horrors.
I
Horror.
can't even imagine it. I bow to you. I still write personal checks. No, I'm kidding. I'm not that bad. Um, yeah, I like to take out my debit card, and then I've got my Costco card.
There you go.
Where do you keep all your cards?
This is actually kind of embarrassing. Probably for 15 years, I have, those butterfly clips that you use to like hold a bunch of paper together. Somehow it started that I just took all my cards and just clipped them. Like, I think I lost my wallet and I just took all my cards and just clipped them together. And so they're just this little stack of cards, and I just throw that in my giant tote bag.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
it.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I do feel a purse to be a burden, and I would like to find a way, but I'm like you. Gab. I like my wallet. Everything's in it. And I like the look of the wallet. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's sort of generational. It's what we're used to. It's what gives us comfort. And especially I find as I get older that it is a little more difficult to keep my act together, especially when I'm traveling. I'm so scared that I'm going to leave something, do something. So now I'm looking for the ultimate travel kit that will
Now, Gab, you have been looking for the ultimate like bag for
forever.
30
I'm
years.
a bag lady. I just want the
I
perfect
hear
bag.
you.
Well, it's
I
just
hear you. I found some that work well. They're smaller crossbody, but I don't love how they look, but they work in a pinch. So to find something that's the right size, looks good, I get it. It's hard to find.
a
It's a quest.
bandolier.
It's a quest.
Yeah.
It's a quest, and it's part of just enjoying, I guess, being a woman in the sense that we we just care about all these little things, and we want to make sure that we have access to everything. It was a great question. What you have in your purse? That's perfect.
I love
I
that.
have a lot more stuff. I got like a Band-Aid and
I probably have a Band-Aid inside a little, yeah, a little pouch that I have inside my purse. You're
oh,
right.
you do. You have a
Probably,
Band-Aid.
probably one, yes.
One of everything.
One of
One
everything.
of
See, it's
everything.
another mother thing that we do.
Probably. Yeah. Things that you started doing when your kids were little and you haven't kind of gotten out of it. You still have this emergency, kit. But, at least you can poke fun at it, fun of it.
That's the thing. I guess we have to just, it's
Yeah.
funny. And I do find it interesting, the different generations. Your generation is more, I think, minimalist in those ways. I will be buried with my purse probably. It's just the way it works.
I mean, I do have a gigantic tote bag that I take everywhere.
With a giant water bottle.
And a giant, I need a bag that's big enough to fit my water bottle.
Okay.
So, but I don't have any small purses. They're all gigantic, or I'll either take something gigantic or like just my phone.
Okay.
Now you've
Different
got that
generation.
chain thing for your phone, which
Yeah,
everyone's getting, just the phone on a
just
chain
the
link
phone.
fence
I
around
think it's called a
the neck
phone leash, which is
only.
very funny.
That is a good image. I like that.
One time I asked her a few years ago now, because I'm always nervous about everything being digital online in the air. Come on, it's going to happen. The whole thing's going to come crashing down. You want your paper. And I said to Amanda a few years ago, so what happens when you have no paper and the thing crashes? And she says, when that happens, we'll have a lot bigger problems than just not being able to get into our bank account, which I thought was a really good answer, Amanda, but I'm still not convinced.
It doesn't
Well,
help us to sleep at night, but it's probably true.
yeah, it is true, exactly, because it's just so much bigger because we're so connected now in a way,
Dependent on it. Yeah,
dependent on it. So
you're right.
give me anything, I'll worry about it. I'm a world-class worrier.
I tend to be more like that as well. Like I said, age is really helping and just having fun. The fun I'm having this year is really helping.
Good.
And just, yeah, age helps.
Tell me more about the fun that you've been having. I want to hear about the fun.
Just this whole Instagram, TikTok thing has just been incredible. Um, and at first I was sort of like, oh, this is silly and shallow. But I had read somewhere about a year and a half ago that TikTok was flooded with women my age and with all kinds of content creators about fashion and comedy and makeup. So I kind of thought, why not me? And just went for it. So it is fun. It's really fun to read these comments and have this community and the offshoots of it, writing a book, hoping that works out is, yeah, it's just been fun. And I'm recognized sometimes when I go out, which is a total hoot. It's just not what I would have imagined. When I retired, I thought, well, I'll probably supply teach a couple of days a week just to get out of the house. But this is just more fun.
And I love, Colleen, we were talking a little bit about your views about wellness. And we have very similar views. And I love what you were saying about the basics and keeping it simple. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about what wellness means to you or looks like in your life, and how you stay well.
I do believe in the basics. I've never been into fads in terms of diet or exercise trends, really. I've always been active. I walk every day, I do yoga. So I think that's important. Sleep, it's a little tricky with menopause, but you do what you can. Eating well for the most part, and socializing. I really think connecting is the key. My dad is 89, he's almost 90, and he's very social and active, and he does not seem like his age. So I think it's the secret, and happiness, just filling your life with little simple things sometimes. It doesn't have to always be the big things. As I mentioned earlier, I love traveling and things like that, but I think the simple pleasures go a long way, like a coffee with a friend or a walk on the beach, a movie. I love going to the movies, loving a Netflix series that you discover, putting your pajamas on at 7 o'clock. I know that's pathetic, but those are the little things that I feel that we've earned. And also, I think a big part of it is really leaning into who you really are, which I think we tell ourselves stories over the years. I always thought of myself as a huge extrovert. I am very social and I like going out, but I have an expiration date, or time. I've realized I like it on my own terms, and I really need a lot of alone time to recharge. But now I'm fine with that. Whereas before I would have thought, ooh, I don't think I'm an introvert. Or now I just tell the world I go to bed at 9:30 and I don't care. So leaning into who you are, doing what brings you joy, being active, socializing, just the basics. I don't think there's a big secret. And I hate trendy diets. I am not going to drink vinegar ever.
Loving those little moments. I'm finding as I get older that those are becoming much more prevalent in my life than they ever were before. I wasn't able to do that. Now, yeah, oh, look, this cup of coffee, fantastic, So you do, I think there's also your awareness of your runway getting shorter, me in particular because I'm older, but and coping with that or managing or finding a way to deal with that.
Right. I think that's true. I guess we have only one life, and if you're not hurting anybody and you've been a good person and done good things and lived your life to the best of your ability, I think it's wonderful to find joy in a good book or a piece of chocolate,
Yeah, yeah.
So just to kind of appreciate those little things, I guess, and just find ways to sprinkle them into your everyday, or having little things to look forward to. If you're in a busy patch and you just know you're going to go out with the girls, or you and your husband are going to go out for dinner. You know what I mean? Just having little treats.
Well, interviewing you, to me, I'm
Aw.
so excited because I know it will be fun, and I love comedy so much. So this to me is a one of those moments.
Well, I feel the same way. It's a thrill.
I'd love to hear. So, of course, you have the very rigorous duties of your inferior designer, but apart from that working relationship that you guys have, how do you and your husband stay connected in this season of life?
I think this is really helping a lot. He's such a fan, and he's getting such a kick out of it that it's been fun for us. And he's sort of a celebrity on the side, even though he's quiet and doesn't need the spotlight like I do. So just, yeah, just hanging out. And when our kids come home, we love that, or we go visit them. Yeah, I think just we're just at a simpler phase in life. We're probably, I guess another thing is when I was younger and we were, in our marriage, I felt, oh, we had to go out on the weekends. We really should, because everybody on Instagram and Facebook, that didn't help much, for people's comparing. So I'd see, oh gosh, we're missing out. We're missing out. We should be doing this. We should be doing that. And I really don't do that anymore. We just enjoy our weekends. If we feel like going to a movie, we do go out for dinner. It's just nice to just sort of be.
You've mentioned a few things that are really wonderful things about that you've learned about yourself or that have gotten easier as you have gotten older. And something that we have noticed in our culture is that there's this idea that we have to fight aging, or it's anti-aging, like be younger, or all of these things, and we just don't hear what gets better with age as much, and it's not celebrated as much. And so part of what our message and the stories we want to tell is about what's getting better as we're getting older.
And I would say everything.
Amazing.
Everything. Even though I've loved every phase of my life for different reasons. I loved being in university. I loved starting out as a teacher. I loved when our kids were young, all of it. But I have to say, for, feeling liberated and just getting reconnected with yourself again, without having to worry about everybody, I'd say so far 60 is the best. So I think it just gets better. And you're right. I think we need to not fear it. I've never feared a birthday or worried about it, because I also think 60 today looks a lot different than it did when my mother's generation was 60. There's more information and uh, I don't know, easier ways to connect maybe. I think people seem younger maybe.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's true. And it's wonderful for us. It's a good time to be at our age.
I agree, but except for the runway thing.
The runway thing, but there's always limits on everything, and that makes you wake up.
You really appreciate it. Time is flying by. And I mean, nobody knows how long anybody has.
Right.
But I do think, yeah, if things keep going like this, I will be happy to keep having birthdays.
Exactly. That's great. Wow. You're the epitome of the movement living woman.
I think I could be your spokesperson. I love you guys.
Poster child, I think. Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
But I think it's refreshing what you're doing, because you're going back to the basics, and I think that's what works.
The science says, but
Exactly.
it's hard. It's really hard to hear, that it's the simple little things done over time consistently that actually move the needle. Everyone really does want or wish that there was something quick that they could do that would just.
I think that's it. And I think social media makes it seem like that is possible with, people posting things and it looks so easy. But I don't think for the majority of people that's the case, but that's what we see and focus on and feel inferior. And but I don't think it's normally how it works. I've always been a believer in slow and steady wins the race. Just keep at it. Even with my videos, I just, kept trying this, that, the other. And then I think eventually, if you're meant to be moving in the direction that you're trying to go in, the universe will kind of pull for you.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Yeah. It helps to know what direction you want to be going in.
And that's sometimes takes a while.
Yeah.
But again, I think social media makes us all think we have to be doing huge things. But I don't think that's true either. I mean, maybe your thing is making cupcakes or reading to kids. You know what I mean? It's whatever brings you joy. And I think you just have to follow that.
It's such a good point. And we know, again, the science shows that having those little things that you're doing that bring you joy, that help you stay connected to some, if it's a bigger purpose, or you're serving a community or something like that, like there's so much, we get so much from that. And I think in big transitions, you know, once you're not so focused on keeping your kids alive, and they've left the nest, or you know, there's just so many responsibilities that women have. Once they settle a tiny bit, it can feel like, oh my goodness, what should I do now? And it's the encouragement from you is great to hear of it doesn't need to be super big. It can be small, just what brings you joy to start there.
Exactly. And I really think you just have to see it all through. I mean, life phases, you just have to live through them. I was not relaxed and I was a worrier. And I did feel like I was having to keep my kids alive. That is really what it feels like. You know, if they're 5 minutes late, I've got them in a ditch. It's awful. It's wearing on your brain.
It is.
So I guess to get through those times, it's just the three tenets of what you are talking about, the connection, movement, nourish your body with good food, and just put one foot in front of the other. It's a wonderful time of life raising kids. But you're right, when you get to the other end of it, you realize I don't have all these responsibilities anymore. I don't necessarily have to change the world in a big way. I think little actions, holding the door open for somebody, paying it forward at a coffee shop, make huge differences in people's day. And I'm a big believer in humor, so I'm so thrilled when I get a message from somebody that says, I was having a rough day and I watched your video. That just thrills me. So I guess I'll just keep doing that rather than go into the schools and read to kids like I was going to.
Well, we're all the better for it, honestly.
Thank you
Because
so
it's
much.
not everybody can do that. So that's why I'm so fascinated with all the different aspects of your humor and your comedy. It's great. And you don't mind being a talent. You don't mind being on camera and being in front of people, which or you like it. And it's not everyone does, that's for sure.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it's a lot less intimidating than stand-up comedy. So for me, after having done that a few times, this is kind of easy.
Yeah.
But you're right, not everybody likes to do it. So I'm just delusional a little tiny bit.
Thank goodness for you.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously.
Colleen, I'd love to go through our Movement Living 5. They are just a rapid fire 5 questions that we love to ask everyone. So I'm going to hit you with the 5 questions. The first one is, in just a few words, what does wellness mean to you?
I would say finding joy in everyday things.
Love that. What is a daily habit that you swear by to feel your best?
Going for my walks every morning.
And do you have a health concern that you worry about the most?
I don't have a reason to, but I would say, getting sick or something. I don't dwell on it, but yeah, I probably get a little nervous when I go for routine tests.
Do you have a favorite way to treat yourself?
Probably dinner out. I love eating. I like a nice glass of wine out with our kids or friends. I love that. And I love going to the movies. That's a treat for me.
What's something that you're learning right now?
Right now, well, a lot of the technical stuff I've had to learn this past year just by doing, um, just incorporating things into Instagram, how to edit videos. I'm still not super great at it, but I've learned a lot this past year. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm working on a book with a literary agent, so that's been a fun learning curve. I'm enjoying it, but I am learning.
I love that. And last question, what is one thing that you love about the age you are right now?
Oh, everything. I would say freedom and just the ability to be creative, to have the time and space to do what I dreamt of really as a little girl, never imagining it in this format, but I kind of think we all have a little knowing inside of us. And it often goes back to childhood. I was the class clown. I loved watching Carol Burnett. But you talk yourself out of it. You say, oh my gosh, as if someone like me, I don't know how to do that. So I guess having the time and space to really just try it has been the best part about turning 60.
I think that's a really helpful tip for anyone listening, actually, is to think about what those childhood dreams and passions were as a breadcrumb to potentially finding that new thing in their
I
lives.
love that. And I kind of think of them as little nudges from the universe and just try to be open to them, like the stand-up comedy course. I really didn't think I would be doing a Netflix special, but I thought, something tells me I have to follow this. And then that writer's workshop where the humor writer said, "Hey, I'm giving up my job." I'm like, you know what? I'm busy. I was still working, but I'm going to try this column because it was always sort of a dream. And then, yeah, just follow the nudges, even though you don't really know where they're going to take you. Because I do think we all have a little something that we're drawn to. We don't know why. And just try little things on that path. And you'll get tweaked along the way, but you're still kind of going in the right direction. And it's never too late. That's the other message.
Super inspirational. It's never too late to even be in good shape with your muscles too. I mean, any of this is never too late. But the inspiration here is those nuggets and who you really are. Can you just start excavating into who you were or are? And also, but this is another little question about the creative, flow, because you're putting yourself on the line here, knowing I have to come up with something. And do you find that it gets easier, or that just things come to you? How does your creativity flow?
That's a great question because in the beginning I did worry about it. And I thought with the interior design stuff, I'm going to run out of ideas. And so but I was scared to deviate from it because that was what people liked. So I stuck with it. And then I went on vacation in the summer and I thought, well, I'm away for 2 weeks. I'm going to just try different things. And a couple of them really resonated. Like we were in Italy last summer, and my husband, we rented a car and he was driving. I thought, like the Italians. And I was just kind of a wreck. And so I would, put mascara on my face and look like I'd been sweating. And so I thought, oh, those hit a nerve too. So then I just trusted myself more. And I thought, what do my friends and I laugh about? We laugh about going out for dinner in a restaurant that's too dark and we can't see anything, we can't hear, it's too loud, we're annoyed. And we used to go out till 2 in the morning and scream over the music. So it's the aging thing and the being female. And so I thought, I'm just going to trust myself and do more of that. So I kind of gave myself permission to evolve a bit and just think, maybe there's more funny than that. So I go back and forth to the interior design stuff and then stuff about beauty. I often, and in terms of the creative flow, I often get my ideas when I go for a walk. I go for about an hour walk every day alone, and I do resolve a lot in my head when I'm walking. So I do need a fair bit of alone time. And then I'll come home and just write down a ton of notes. And then I'll slowly flesh them out bit by bit. Like I might have an idea for a hairdresser, skit, and then I'll just make little notes, flesh it out. And so, yeah, I guess just trusting myself was another thing to just say, because it is scary to put things out there that are a little different and you think, ooh, I don't know if they're going to like this, but I just would put it out and kind of walk away and let them like it or not like it. It's what I think is funny, and that's all I can do.
What you were saying earlier about excavating yourself, I think that really, if someone is like, oh my goodness, excavating myself, like how do I start that? I think actually going for a walk alone for an hour and then coming home and writing in a notebook about all of the things that came up, in your head, like that's such a great thing to do for anyone, that wants to self-reflect or is trying to get more into a creative flow.
When you think about your friends, they're all good at some little thing, or you feel they're a bit special in a certain way. And I think just spending time with yourself, for me helps. I'm a big thinker, and but I love the term excavating yourself. That's so cool because I think when we're parents, we suppressed is a strong word. I've always been tried to make my kids laugh, and I've always liked humor, but it takes a back seat to your family. It's just the way it is. So you kind of lose yourself in it, I think we all do. And it's hard to kind of fight for time and space and airtime because there's just so much to do. So then I think the excavation comes bit by bit as you get a bit more time. So it does happen, but I think, yeah, it's just getting in touch with yourself and thinking, what did I like? Who was I before?
Yeah, it's very inspiring listening to you talk because it's not easy to do this, it's not easy. We're entrenched in a certain way of being. And so this is part of our movement living message and to ourselves even, which is, yeah, you can find that old self, but bring it back out and it will help you age better. It just
I
will.
think so. And I think everybody feels your lightness and your happiness. And I think our kids want us to be the best version of ourselves too.
You don't want to get all grumpy and mean and nasty, which is so, boy, it's so tempting sometimes, I hate.
Oh, believe me, I am not perfect. I definitely have those moments where I'm just like, oh, everybody annoys me. And that's perimenopause and menopause too. It's just like, oh.
It's annoying. But you're turning it into gold. You're turning it into a beautiful thing. And that's the alchemy that you're doing.
And it's what you focus on. So if you only focus on the negative all the time, you're only going to see that. And I think that's takes work. I don't think most of us are naturally um, positive. I think our brain goes to the negative to protect us, maybe. I think we're hardwired that way. So I still have to work on that. I'll find myself seeing negative things in people or situations, and I have to just change the frequency.
It is easier to change the frequency than it used to be. I'm like, hey, my attitude is wrong. I'm going to do it this way. And it actually works better.
I know, and I think we've gotten tools over the years. I know for me, going for a walk can usually snap me out of a bad mood. I kind of know what to do now. You have the tools, you have the mindset, you know more, and it's just easier to flip the switch. And life is just a little bit easier. So that makes it easier.
Well, flipping the switch, it helps to see what you post. No pressure. You don't have to keep doing it all the time because that's a whole nother thing. But when I see you, and I laugh, that helps flip my switch. So
That thrills me. It is my honor and privilege to post these every day.
I love your physical humor. And that's just fantastic.
Thank you so much.
We're going to assign all of our listeners and readers some homework to watch all of your hilarious content and reels. Where can people find you?
I would say Instagram and TikTok, and my handle is Colleen Landry Comedy. So they could find me there. Hopefully, click the follow button. And as I said, I try to post every day, and hopefully, there'll be book news soon, but I will put that on Instagram and TikTok.
Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
And thanks a million. This was a treat.
Take care.
Bye.